All right, so good afternoon. We're here for tonight's Enosburgh Select meeting on October 2nd, 2023. It's 6 o'clock. So to start off with, we'll have each of the members introduce themselves, and we'll get into the agenda. So,
Jessica Eagles.
Phil Upwood.
BJ.
Oh, Billy Joe Tumford.
And I'm Pierre Letourneau, Vice Chair. This evening on the agenda, we've got change in the agenda, public comments, Joey Clark Foreman, and discussion on dog park, and then minutes. Is there anything else that we want to add to that?
Susie? Did you want to add anything?
I want to speak at public comment.
So your public comment, you're going to be public comment also?
I just heard about his public comments, so I'm hearing this.
Oh. Okay, so any other changes or nothing?
No.
All right. We're going to want to close the door, so to speak.
Well, we can close it.
I mean, it's a little loud.
Partly rambunctious.
Or leave it a crack or something.
They are dedicated.
More than I am.
All right, then. So, nothing for the change on the agenda, so then we'll go right into public comments. And if you don't mind, introduce yourself, and you're up.
All right. I'm John DeCiro, the village manager for the village of Enosburgh, I guess representing or here for the village. I have handouts if anybody wants one.
You're just too cool.
Huh?
I said you're too cool.
They're prescriptions, so I can't
Thank
take
you.
them off. If I do, I'll be squinting all the way.
Look at mine.
Come in, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'm here just to discuss the parking lot and some thoughts as we kind of move forward. So I know that in the village, the town owns the parking lot next to the Opera House, and they've had some struggles with some folks and some littering and whooping it up type of thing. So I know that you've worked on blocking off parts of the parking lot and doing what you can, which is appreciated. However, we were just wondering, as the village, because we know it is an important parking lot and it is utilized by a lot of folks. The village has had a request about time parking on Main Street, just because it's a good thing, but it's gotten very busy throughout the day with different business folks in and out of the Notch and the FED Supervisory Union. So, and then obviously all the businesses. So we'd like to see that parking lot stay open and so forth. So if you go to page, one, so you go back to stay on page 1. This is the property that the village owns right behind us here, that we've had discussed in the past, the possibility of swapping that. The village owns 1.8 acres out here, and the town owns 0.8 or 0.79 or something like that acres, which is AKA the Opera House parking lot. So the suggestion or recommendation or thought, the board would listen to it, is like we kind of had talked about, doing a land swap of some sort, probably maybe 0.9 acres. So the town would take over 0.9 acres, which, as you can see on the map, and I walked it today, kind of the corner of our property would definitely be suitable for some parking expansion, as you have the playground coming in, the dog park possibly coming in. You can see it tonight with the soccer. So I mean, if you had a playground going, a dog park right now, where would people park? So if you cut to page 3, I kind of just drew out an approximate line, probably not even half, but just kind of an idea of what we'd be willing to do on that swap, so that you would have some room from expansion of parking and so forth, as you add some other facilities, and that would leave us with a section on the corner of Water Tower Road. if you cut to page 5, I think it is, the one with the rectangle drawn in. So again, the village would like to retain that one section near Water Tower Road. If you're not aware, VEC, Vermont Electric Co-op, and Velco, the main transmission lines for the state, are right there. So the reason that the village had purchased that property way back when was just in case. And again, that's why we would like to retain that small section. It's, again, it'd probably be just under an acre. I did some measurements between our substation and the substation that VEC has that the village is fed from, and they're roughly 90 by 90. So this square is actually 100 by 100. So that's essentially all we would need to maintain. Again, we would maintain it for a possibility of a substation. That could be 5 years or 50 years. We have no idea when that would be, or even if we would ever use it. But because of its location, it's just a hard piece of property to give up, knowing that that could be something in the future, especially with Velco. Because the way things are going, that might be a possibility. And if you're not aware, we are putting a solar field up on Reservoir Road, so we would have power coming back through from this solar project. At this time, there's no plans of hooking into any of that. It's just going to come back and feed our light department. But again, something in the future, we don't know.
But your plans of the parking lot would be parking lot?
Well, the thing is,
Our plans are whatever. You can do whatever you want with it. I just, it seems there needs to be a need for parking. That's just.
well, first of all, though, we need to have a clarification, and that is that lot right there is not a parking lot.
Well,
It's not coded, it's not worded as a parking lot. We just use that word because it's actually a lot for development.
you mean the Opera House lot?
The Opera House.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the one I meant.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think you meant back here.
No.
That's what you're gonna do with that one down there, it's gonna maintain.
We're going to maintain it as a parking lot. Yeah. I mean, we have some ideas for upgrades. I don't know exactly yet, but we've looked into paving it probably sometime in the future. Again, it seems like things are going in the right direction for the village, getting busy. Between the parking for employees and then on top of that, halfway through my spiel. So that's what our plan is, yes, is a parking lot. The only stipulation that we had asked or looking for is as we write up a contract, or however you want to say it, a purchase and sales, yes, we would like to, and we're open for suggestions, and maybe Sam can allude to this as well. We're open to suggestions, but I guess our side of it is we're not going to say it should be a parking lot for the next 100 years. If something in the community changes and we need to hit that need at that time, so if it's 10 years, 20 years, 100, I don't know what that looks like. But to pigeonhole it into just being a parking lot, that's where we would like to see it not have that. But again, our intentions for the very near future, if not, I don't know, 10, 20 years or whatever, it's gonna be a parking lot. We're gonna look to improve upon it and then, open it up for the public. You folks have talked about a gate, we may have to come to that, some kind of gating system.
So we're talking down by the Opera House.
Now we're talking about the Opera House.
Okay.
Cameras, what we need to do to keep it safe, but also usable for the village. And that is the goal. That is our goal right now. So that's,
I've got a question.
yeah.
So if you did this, if this all worked out, and certainly being involved in the Opera House, we'd love to see the parking there, but if at some point down the road, like you said, something changes, would you put that to the village voters to see whether they wanted it changed or not? So say all of a sudden you decide, oh, we're gonna build on it. Would that go through the process of public input? Because you'd be taking away a parking lot that's not termed a parking lot right now, but would be in the future possibly, and then if you had some other use for it, would that go through the process where people could chime in and say, yep, that sounds like a great idea considering where we're in 40 years, or nope, we'd really like it to remain a parking lot? Could that be a...
I'll let Sam answer too. My view is, yes, it would go to the vote. If, again, if it's 8 years or 80 years down the road, and the village and the town and the Enosburgh community says we need this, then yeah, it goes to vote and they say we gotta change it into this, but,
It wouldn't just be done in a meeting. is what
no,
I'm
yeah.
asking.
Yeah, and especially if you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, like what if you wanted a parking garage or new office building, like those things cost money and that would have to go to voters too.
Yeah, I mean, anything we would do above and beyond a parking lot
Yeah.
would need to be approved upon anyway. But,
Any use that you change it to from the zoning perspective, you'd have to go to the DRB as well.
yeah,
So it would be a process with public input, no
Yeah.
matter what.
but again, that's not the intention, but I guess my feeling is I just don't want it to pigeonhole so that, again, whatever many years down the road, everybody's like, well, we could use this, but we can't use that property because of. So that's what we're laying out there. Guess ask the board to think through it. If you have any comments, questions.
I just have the substation, what are the setback requirements on that? I'm not talking zoning setbacks, I'm talking like, is there, but they don't have any setbacks as far as, they just lean on the zoning ones, whatever it is from the boundaries?
I mean, if you go down Birch Lane, they're what, 100 feet? 100 feet from 150 maybe.
Okay. Anything else?
I'd love to hear your input. What's your thoughts?
We'll take that into consideration.
Oh, I know you will, but what are your thoughts?
I think it's something that's been discussed before. I think we've talked about this swap before and the parking situation and things like that, so it's good to know that that's still something on your radar, with everything that is going on in the village, so I think it just depends on, I know we've talked a little bit about, I guess it just depends on other things that are happening here, like with the dog park and the uses and everything, but I think it's a good idea, personally. I don't know what the other board members think, but.
Definitely like to see it be a parking lot, you know, I mean, it's definitely needed, but we can't have it like it is, you know, people have
Right.
just a quality of life like we discussed last fall. This isn't there for those people that are within earshot of that place. Mrs. Ryan, you know, how comfortable does she feel there by herself as an older lady, you know?
It sounds like a great opportunity for you guys to get rid of that headache, and if they want to throw money and put paving and lights and everything there, having listened to what you had to deal with, and it's been a headache and a pain in the neck, that sounds kind of exciting to me.
A little bit of pavement, some curbs and sidewalks and lights and cameras would go a long way. And it may not have to come down to gated off parking lot, could be still used.
We'll have a sheriff at some point.
Well, yeah, if we get one sheriff, we need him like in 7 places because they call us
No,
every
I
day
know.
where they want him
The
sitting.
situation we're in now won't be forever, so.
Hopefully not.
And that's one of the reasons why we want to keep this ball rolling is we are in budget season. So, you know, if we are budgeting for some more cameras, and then, I don't know, I don't know if we budget for that this year or not, but, you know, paving, we may look at grants. There's a lot of park and ride type grants out there right now. So we may look into that type of stuff and see if we can get those.
So there was never anything drafted or written already for a swap?
No, the lawyers have one.
Okay, so you would just prefer to take out that it needs to remain a parking lot, is that what you're saying?
That's the biggest thing.
The
yeah.
verbiage of
and
it
you-
needs
we
to,
be willing to discuss a time frame, or do we visit in 5 years, or
Right,
10
okay,
years, or
but-
something like
okay.
that? But yeah, it's just hard to think that there's gonna be a piece of property that,
Another piece of property.
another piece of property that the village or the town.
You guys are currently going through something very similar with your office building, right? That's has to stay municipal use, so, you know.
Yeah.
We don't wanna see that. There could be an expiration on it, I mean, it could be municipal use for 10 years or whatever.
Is there any room for compromise with the substation, personally? Is that like a deal breaker if we asked? land for land. Would that be on the table to not have the substation right there?
I mean, at this point, no. I mean, we definitely would want to. I mean, again, it may never get built. I mean, we could, you know, if the other portion happened and you expand the parking lot, yeah. I mean, we could, you know, we're good with either we do it or you do it or whatever. Maybe beautifying that little section until there's, or you know, put some flowers and make it mowable or something. I don't know.
Or use it, park on it.
Or yeah, or park
If
on
we
it or
ever need
whatever.
it.
Yeah, we can put that in a lease or something. You can use it for a
Well, no, I
park.
was just thinking like a substation is not very inviting recreation wise, so I was just hoping that that.
No, I know it's not
Maybe
the
a
most.
thing like, yeah, if you did swap to it for a swap, equal to equal, no conditions. And no substation, maybe that would be more viable.
It's hard because it's just that the location right now. Because I mean, if it wasn't right underneath those lines, I think he would be like, sure, have it all. I mean, I don't think that's the problem. It's just that location. If something were to change, I mean, if you're not aware, we have the one feed from VEC. So if VEC shuts us down, we're done. So that's what we're looking towards in the future, and we're working on other ideas to solve that problem. But that would be, you know, that could be one. But again, that's. I mean, the other reason why that's a little appealing for us too is if we, it obviously costs us some money as the light department. However, when you build off of Velco, you're enhancing their plant. So just like the other users are gonna absorb some of that cost. So actually, the light department doesn't. If it's $5 million, it's not all on us. It may only be $2 million on us. $3 million Velco absorbs, and the rest of the ratepayers have to pay that through ISO New England. So that's otherwise it could be feasible, but again, we have no game plan right now. There's nothing really in the works. It's just it'd be hard to get rid of it, and then 2 years down the road, like, oh crap, we had that piece of property underneath our power lines.
And that's why we have it.
Yeah, that's the reason why it was.
That's the only reason why we have that piece of property to begin with.
All right, super. Anything else?
I just wanna say again, I think this is a great idea. As a person who is the Opera House, would love to have that as a real parking lot that doesn't have to be, you know, not called a park. All of that stuff, you know, insured, used properly, lights, cameras. I think the neighbors would love it if it was used properly, and if the village wants to throw money at it and have it happen and you guys don't have to deal with the headache, I think that would be great. And if it meant voting on it, it would have my vote.
Jesse actually
For
has
sure.
been writing a grant for the park and ride, because it's not that, the board didn't take the decision to close it very serious, you know, they took it very seriously, I should say, because it was our insurance company that really had the final say of it. So we are taking steps to try to make it one again, just a lot of money, and it's a bad time of year
But it's been
to do it.
a pain in the butt for a long time, and so, I mean, just saying to the board, if you're thinking for public input, I'm just one person, but I think you would find support for that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate the maps too. It's always
Yeah.
nice to
Yeah.
see the
Yeah, the visual,
the actual
for sure.
visuals of the land we're talking about here. So
Did you look at the map, Billy Joe, is to have the accurate cutout for the Opera House piece?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so next thing on the agenda is Joey Clark and
I'm the Joey tonight.
okay.
oh,
So, because of the sand and salt shed project and the mysterious black pipe that was filled with maybe some dirt, mud, sludge, whatever we're calling it, the state is still after Marguerite and Tim to find out where this pipe leads or doesn't lead. And they will be shut down as of October 31st if they don't find out. So to be a good neighbor, even though it really isn't the town's responsibility, but it helps us as well, because if we can close up that whole place over there and put this behind us. Joey is asking your permission, to see where it leads, but not to include digging up the road. And he would like to invite Tim and the state guy to be present when he digs.
We need motion on that. How about not?
I think you should.
No, I definitely think we
No, I'll
should.
move to give Joey
Permission to,
permission
I'll
to
second.
dig that up with
Let's get it.
everybody's supervision. Who's the guy from the state, BJ?
Oh, you must know his name.
Jeff.
Jeff, he was in one of the email paperwork we had.
Gerard.
Yeah, I think that's.
One of the water
He's
quality
for
guys.
the public drinking. I don't know if Jeff is gonna come. I don't know. It may be.
No.
There's another girl too that she's kind of the on-site, whatever, on location person. So it may be her, maybe Jeff, and maybe there's another one. Meredith Maskell is another one too. So, but either way.
and if they were not gonna need to have the sand tag guys there?
No, they're working on trying to finalize finishing up of the project, so
Okay,
we know where we stand and what we have to pay out. I mean, Joey can invite them to see if they
Right.
want to be part of it, and that's not a bad idea to do. The more eyes on it, to
Well,
say,
it's
this
just-
isn't going anywhere, probably the better.
yep,
Probably.
cause I mean, they
We just need to
represent,
get behind
cause they
it.
kind of represent us, but then at the same
They
time.
do,
They would represent Millbrook, and then it would give,
no, they don't represent them.
well,
They're our people.
there are people, so. Alright, so there was a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Anything else with Joey that he had?
So they'd have to get that set up fairly quickly then.
We want to do it soon, possible,
Yeah.
probably this week. Good.
Okay. Alright,
Good.
go ahead.
Just wondering, should we have somebody there also?
Like one of you guys?
Yeah.
If one of you available, are you available? Are you
Me.
still chopping?
No.
Do you know when he's doing it?
He doesn't know he's doing it, but he wants to do it.
I think
Right
that's a
now.
good idea, Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll have him call one of you guys then.
Or, yeah, call us in.
Yeah,
One of
just
us.
let us know, yeah,
Copy.
just text somebody, and
Yeah.
if I can go, I'll go.
been a pain.
You can go, you can go.
Yeah.
You know, it's just something you can't
Maybe
close the
two
door
months.
to the next chapter until this.
Right.
No, that'd be good.
No, I think
Until
we
this
ought
is
to have
done.
somebody representing us, or help, not just Joey,
Mhm.
when, I'm assuming the state guy's neutral, but just,
Oops. Sometimes
Make
not.
Well, I
Sure.
think once he gets past the well, if the pipe's not hooked to the well,
yeah. Mhm.
Was that all for Joey's
It was.
road?
Alright, so then we'll, not that we're running ahead, but,
Before I jump onto that, did anybody talk to the water people at the state to make sure? Cause it sounded like they definitely want it, it's not just recommended.
Tim and Margaret had talked to them again in the emails that we got confirmed. And the email said, this is to confirm our discussion from previous, that we need to do one of two things. And it was either find where that goes, or, I don't remember what the other one was. That's right, camera, and we weren't in favor of taking the cover off
No.
again, and
Right.
contaminating it and having a negative or positive test, and
Has anyone heard of the test been okay?
Yeah, last test was the 14th, the 18th. It was negative, so it's good.
I mean, I think they should have waited and had a few more tests and see if we came
Right.
back with one that was bad, then do what they're suggesting, but it's not how they're working.
Yeah, he said they have to test once a month, you know, they do have to confirm that, they have to test for once a month for a year, basically, so.
And this pipe is the only thing in there that's saying they would be shut down,
Their
nothing
level,
else.
level 2 assessment, and so phase 1 was basically you had to have 2 back-to-back negative tests, and then they put the pipe restriction on there, and that's what, like Billy Joe said, it was either camera or dig to see where it goes, so.
Nobody believes the pipe has anything to do with
No.
that water.
Yeah.
Well, I think it'll be
That's-
good for
that's what they want.
confirmation, yeah,
Mhm.
get it all
One less
figured out.
thing. Okay.
Great. So 6:45.
All right, so we're jumping in on the dog park, and,
Yeah, there's some letters from some of the public. And there's some letters from different dog parks around the country and around
Oh,
Vermont.
wow.
Rules, there's just a lot of information for you guys to take a peek at, to see.
take 5 minutes, we'll take a look at that, yeah.
And I didn't talk to Mark. I thought he would have come up last meeting, but he didn't. Talked to Garrett, the ambulance director, as I was coming here, he was leaving. And he said the helicopter landing pad out back is not a deal breaker. They will land any place that the crews say there's a safe landing pad. So Joey always makes sure that the parking lot is the helipad, and that's what it'll be.
Oh, okay.
You just have to
Yeah,
say that
that
the
makes sense.
lawn's not a thing anymore, that's where there's a dog park.
I thought they were pretty flexible with.
He said they are.
Yeah. I mean, they've landed lots of different
Yes, and he said,
non-traditional.
depending on what's going on, he said if there was a car full parking lot full of cars up there, they would tell everybody to get off the soccer field and they would land on the soccer field, etc. They would find a place for them to land.
There's one copy, so that's.
Yeah, I didn't make one.
Oh, that's okay.
There's
No.
lots of information.
Oh, I see.
Is there anything left in the envelope?
No, I took it all out.
Okay. And you have the letters in front of you from the public.
Yeah, we got some people that have written in, Ellen Stanley, and she was in favor of it. And then, Kathy Sandhill, supports the idea. And needless to say, the only lady that's presented this is Kay Bennett, and, she's interested in having us pursue a dog park, and that would be up at the public safety building area in the recreation part of it. And she's been gathering information in the last couple of, or at least this month or so.
So is that, I can't remember, the last meeting, you were interested in getting more information about the helicopter, like the follow-up, right?
Well, right, and that's what we got.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the only thing really that we wanted more information, but you had that question about, right?
And we had the funding, so.
Yeah.
Kate had $500 that she won from, I believe, the Business Association for her work doing things for Spirit in the schools and the kids, and then her parents were going to match the 500 of their own. And we have money in the general fund, because we didn't use it on Railroad Free, so we have plenty of money there.
What do you guys think of that dog park?
Good. No,
People
you guys had
asking
some.
about it or anything?
Yeah, we got some letters of support too,
You know?
sent to our board, yeah.
Yeah.
But I know there's some questions about ordinances, and from the village standpoint, everything's good to go. Basically no street dogs, and they're not on the street, so
Yeah.
we're good to go.
Yeah, from what Abby had researched, essentially, a lot of the other towns or villages that have them, the ordinance for the town is the same for the dog park. There really wasn't much of a.
No, and I think the reason I sent that to Catherine and said that she could share it with you was mostly because currently the town doesn't have its own ordinances, we just go by state statutes. And a thought for the future is that we should maybe have the same ordinance, one that's the community as a whole. Instead of you having one and us not having one, if we had the same one, or the dog catcher, animal control officer was, they would know, just this is the reference.
And we did, Abby did go to the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns. And even though ours is dated,
Yep.
it is still
Yeah,
kind
most
of
of it
is
was,
spot on.
yes, most
So
of
we
it,
are
I
gonna-
agree with that.
We're gonna look at reviewing that and putting it back for the trustees. It's not on the top of the to-do list, but it's on there.
Yeah,
At
I
least
know
get it
that.
out of typewriter font.
So I guess I definitely think it's a good idea, but logistics wise, like how do they keep track of, like I'm just looking at one of these rules here, all dogs need to be vaccinated and up to date on vaccines before entering, like, who keeps track of all of that?
I don't really think you can. I think you put these rules up
Oh,
with
okay.
hopes that everybody adheres to them.
Assume good intent.
But I mean, unless you have an attendant out there asking for papers,
Right,
and you're gonna have people from different towns.
Right.
So it's not.
so you put the
logical
rules
that
out there and then, like,
you hope that people follow it.
right, and if they don't, then somebody on the rec side would follow up with that, or,
Well,
I don't know
I
that you
default
have-
to our ordinance, and if it's,
Okay,
they don't have their
okay.
shots.
No, that
then
makes sense.
They
I
can get
just-
that fine, whatever our ordinance says. And I'm assuming it's, like you said, it's
Yeah.
an honor system
Right,
until,
yeah.
unfortunately, like one
until
dog
it-
attacks another dog, and the person's like, well, I don't have any of those
Yeah.
shots or whatever.
Okay,
That
but
would
right,
fall-
since you put the rules out there, then
Yeah.
they didn't abide by the,
Right.
okay, no,
And
that
they
makes
fall in
sense.
our ordinance.
Liability's on them at
Yep.
that point.
Yep, okay, no.
But then the thing, on something like that, I mean, we'd have to go back and relook at you guys' at the ordinance, and then from there, probably put some better wording in there,
Well, I have
To-
looked at theirs, and theirs is,
compared to,
I mean,
say,
it's dated, but not dated. You know what I mean? Like, it was made a long time ago, but it's still very current. It's dogs, I mean, things
Right.
don't really change a lot. So they were right when they said that.
but
Still
the,
applicable today.
okay, but the thing is how current, or how comparable is is ours?
We don't have any.
Well, okay, is the village to, say, the city of St. Albans?
It's, like I said, we just, Abby pulled the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns recommended dog ordinance, and ours is basically spot on, even though it's dated.
That's
It
right.
hits
But
all the
we are
major
working-
buttons.
And we are working on just updating it to make sure we miss anything that's caught.
Is there any dog park rule that isn't overseen by ordinance rule?
Not that when I've reviewed it, I haven't really seen it. That's one thing we would make sure, like, go through, we're gonna have to have many signs, it's gonna be pretty lengthy, but to make sure that it ticks all the boxes on those.
I've been by the one in St. Albans, they have like birthday parties there, so I'm guessing these people take it pretty serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dog
I'm not
birthday?
joking, I mean, like balloons or cake, and I'm like, ice cream.
Weddings. I know.
99% of the people using it are great, you know, there's
Yeah,
that 1%
that's-
that it's
yeah,
gonna cause a
yeah.
little issue, sometimes you gotta expect it, you're dealing with the
I mean,
public.
people take their pets pretty seriously.
Yeah.
And I don't know the difference, maybe you have researched it. Is there a difference between the two? Because I know the one's smaller in St. Albans, one's bigger, is one,
I thought they said it was
I've
the
never
size
been
of
to
the
a
small
dog.
dog, big dog?
Yeah.
Something, or-
No, they did, cause there are those 9 pound, you know, I have
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And some of them are just not ready for the bigger.
Yeah, and some do it by size. This is the pen for the small, the medium, and large.
so space-wise, I don't know what you're working with, but I don't know if that may be one thing you want to look into, is there a,
Well, we were thinking of
maybe there's
100.
not, maybe, because I've seen them without it, I've seen just one big
Yeah.
part.
Right,
Yeah,
that's what we're gonna try first.
I think
that way,
so, to see how it goes.
It's 100 by 100 with a little, like an entryway,
Yeah,
where you go in, take your dog in, take the leash off, let him go into the park, and then you walk in.
It's just like double gated when you go in. So you can't turn them all loose, hopefully.
I mean, I
Okay.
sit in my office and I see all the dogs going into the park and they're not really allowed on the leash and they're doing all their business over there and sometimes they don't pick up after them. And so it would be nice if there was a place
Yeah.
people could bring their pets so they could get a
Definitely
little
appreciate it.
exercise.
Yeah, I've been hearing the suggestion for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I have.
how about you build the fence for our substation, and then you can move it later. Then we don't have to build it.
That wasn't in the drawings.
There was, I drew the fence picture,
I didn't see dogs in the drawing.
May have to update that.
I just don't think you need barbed wire on top.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, for licensing of the dogs, BJ, do they have to have anything other than rabies?
No, not if they're licensing. You only have to show us that they have had their rabies shots. We suggest a number of other ones, just for chemical. Chemical.
Are they, I didn't read the vaccinations, did they have a list of them on their suggested
Oh,
things?
this one just
I think
said-
one did, and it was suggesting
Yeah.
distemper and kennel, which, that's what you would have to if you were boarding them or taking them to doggy daycare anyway, so I think that's
most of them would
I
have
think
that.
that's, I think they would. People who
Mhm.
take care of their dogs and take the time to take them to the park are probably going to have those things. But it's good to put it in writing.
Yeah, I didn't know if that's something you add to your license and things, so it's covered.
Well, that's something to think about. We should.
And add it to the vaccination clinic.
Right.
Yeah, so
Instead
then
of
you can
just
just show it
rabies,
and like, oh,
couple of
look, I
stuff.
had all these.
Yeah, I didn't memorize our ordinance. I read it.
Just a
Are
thought.
the, speaking of ordinances, just quick, are the bylaws, is that still going through the, okay.
We
I
didn't-
wasn't
we
sure,
did not
just
one
because
then.
with everything else, like the combining,
Yeah, no, we're actually meeting Wednesday.
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Did we need to move on this?
If you are in favor or not, if one way or the other, yes, it would be good to put it together.
Yeah. I move that we give the rec department and Kate Bennett, okay to move forward with the dog park.
I'll second.
Okay, so we've heard the motion on the continuance on our dog park. So those, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Looks like we're moving ahead.
So we got a dog park.
Give me some happy dog owners.
Although they did say that they might be thinking next year.
Right.
Spring.
That's like 7 years for dog though.
Yeah, it's like 7
Wow,
years.
we'll see what happens. That's not a good one. I like
It's
that.
impressive. I heard the playgrounds got up to 30 grand.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
did, just in the month of September, and we already had 20,000 previous.
Yeah.
Catherine did a great job.
That's awesome.
Maybe that's-
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
Yeah.
So the public comment will just continue that discussion with the land and
Yeah,
We
is
have
that
full
something
board.
is that like when we have the full board, when Larry's back and we'll continue that?
Oh, we can have it tonight, and I need to go into executive. for
Okay.
something,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
All right, so the next thing will be the minutes.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you guys.
You guys.
Seeing you.
Yep, you too.
See you, Sam, thanks.
Oh, look how dark it is already.
I know, gosh.
And the only thing I got in the minutes for clarification from on my end was the way the wording was for that black pipe.
He wanted to clarify that it was because of the project.
Where are you
It's,
seeing
it's,
that?
it's based on the south shed
Oh.
Project.
project on our side,
Gotcha.
but
It is
Yeah.
having to be investigated because of this salt shed
Yeah.
construction or project.
bingo, yes, but I just wanted that clarification,
No,
just
that's a
to,
good point. I like it.
so I got a motion on the minutes based on those changes.
I'll
second.
accept the minutes.
Okay, so it's moved and seconded with the changes. Anything else? Going once, going twice? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So I'm going into discussion, or into executive.
I'll make a motion.
That'll be the last thing. to-
Go into
Yep.
executive.
I'll second that motion, go into
Can
executive.
I tell the doggy did their stuff?
All right, all those in favor of going into executive session?
Aye.
All those opposed? We're in executive.